Happy Sunday to everybody. Divisional weekend. It's been a good one so far. We had one competitive game and one not so competitive game last night with the Giants and the Eagles. You can join us for the afternoon here, 500 East Washington Street, North Attleboro here, the box seats. Bar's filling up already, but we got a really good one and one that we wanted to see a couple of weeks ago, and we know everything that came with that, and we're not going to necessarily get into that right now, but Cincinnati Bengals at Buffalo Bills. Joe Burrow at the Bills against Josh Allen, two of the elite quarterbacks in this league, and should be an interesting game. Just from what we saw in minimal time, these teams were going at it. They'll probably go at it again today. So we'll see what's going on. Shay tweeting in already. Cowboys 31-20, Bills 24-21. Wow. So we're like completely opposite, my friend. Just to start off, snow is in the forecast in Orchard Park. And when they say 1 to 3 inches, there should be a special measurement that means 6 inches later, quickly, lake effect, good luck driving home. That aspect has to be put into this. When it snows in Buffalo, it's interesting. I've been many times to many games up in Buffalo, and, you know, you'll hear a little bit about snow, and next thing you know, like, the Patriots are staying in Rochester for the night, like the 2010 game. Just to get into some of the X's and O's. Cincinnati's O-line is decimated. How do they handle the Buffalo front and crowd noise? Lyle Collins out, Jonah Williams out, Alex Kappa out. They're really going to rely on the depth. And we remember last year, they went into Tennessee divisional weekend. Tennessee was the number 1 ranked team. And it was Jeffrey Simmons just ate up. I mean, he put himself on the national map, just in an unbelievable way. 9 sacks overall for Burrow. And what was incredible was his toughness, their ability to get a turnover late in the game, kick the field goal, and walk out of there. Ed Oliver's probably going to get a really good chance on the interior. You to see Russo, if it's Basham today, Shaq Lawson. They really got to get that pressure on Burrow because he has that ability to get rid of the ball very early and pretty quick with those 3 wide receivers, Hayden Hurst and Joe Mixon in the mix. So who does this advantage go to? Probably the Buffalo defense with the ability to rush the quarterback, you know, all the players we mentioned. They're very deep along the defensive line. They made sure to do that after last year's loss. That 13 seconds really applied to them, and they wanted to get pressure on the quarterback and a good rotation to stop the run game. So they were built for Derrick Henry and Mahomes and Burrow. So they did a really good job in the offseason of doing that. We saw Cincy having its way with the passing game. How do the Bills defend? As we've seen, even with the Patriots, there was a lot open in the middle of the field. Myers, different guys, they were able to take advantage of, Buffalo being down to their 3rd safety. Poyer is an all-pro, we know that, one of the elite players in this league. But the cornerback play just hasn't been stellar. Tre'Davious White is coming off an ACL injury. You're curious where they're going to attack and how Buffalo is going to go about it. Are they going to go Tre'Davious White on Jamar Chase, or are they going to let sides match up and figure out? And don't forget the Tyler Boyd issue. Really good in the slot. Hayden Hurst, the tight end, and Joe Mixon and Samaje Perine used out of the backfield. Those guys can make plays in the passing game out of the backfield. So, it's a pretty good offense. But again, it comes back to our first question: can they hold up? And then it leads to this: if they do hold up, how do the matchups work? Another question I have is: if the field becomes bad, who has the running game advantage? Um, I need to see more Naheem Hines. I think he would be a good bad weather runner, better than Singletary, who can be a fumble guy, and Cook, who started off this season in the doghouse because of some fumbles. So you got Joe Mixon, who's a big back type of guy who can take 25 to 30 carries. I don't know that Buffalo has that guy. And if you spell P. Ryan, get him in there for some plays too. He can be a physical force at run too. And then it's a matter of who they carry as their third running back today. How they go with the inactive lifts, and we'll have that at 1:30. Defending Josh Allen, spy type. Yeah, you're going to get your outside pressure with Hubbard and Hendrickson and B.J. Hill and the crew. DJ are going to be inside trying to provide that pass rush, hopefully help him with the run. I think the key guy today is a guy by the name of Akeem Davis Gaither, who had a pick last week in the game against Baltimore. He's good in coverage, but I think he's the spy type guy. And if you watch him on special teams, he's the first guy downfield all the time. Went to App State. He just has that ability to chase Allen around and allow the corners and the safeties of the Bengals to do their job. So keep an eye on Akeem Davis Gaither today. See if he can be the guy who, a bit of a spy, cover underneath Dawson Knox, Singletary out of the back, but able to come up from that position and put a hit on Allen and really relegate him in his run game and what he can bring. Matt Milano's best role for the Bills. This is pretty interesting because Matt Milano is probably the best cover linebacker in the NFL. And with him and Edmonds, if you can get up with 4 and Milano and Edmonds can back up, play in the zone, take away the middle of the field, and then let your corners and safeties cover downfield, Chase Boyd and Higgins, that's probably your best recipe for winning. If they are actually able to block it up and they need somebody to come extra blitz as a 5th person, I think that's where Cincinnati has the advantage. If Sharping and these guys who are filling in can actually make plays today and block up well and pick up the crowd noise and know the cadence, they're going to be in a really, really good situation today. The Bengals are. So if you see Milano and Edmonds in coverage in the middle of the field all game and they're still able to put pressure, it's very favorable for Buffalo. We get to the kicking game. McPherson last year made some big kicks, advancing in rounds as a rookie. Was out watching a halftime show as a spectator. Kind of didn't go over well with a lot of people, but he's just easygoing. He's got that mentality, so we get to see how that goes. On the other side, does Buffalo have that ability to kick? They got another young kicker too. And when I say young kicker, I mean, in his first few years and hasn't had to make that yet. If you go back to that Kansas City games, it was touchdowns and Buckert making the kick and then going to overtime, and the overtime rule change. So that's what I go from that. Is Gabe Davis becoming a big game guy? 100-yard game last week, touchdown. Um, I like what I see out of Dawson Knox too. We kind of had a little argument last week about who is the true number 2 guy in Buffalo, and Gabe Davis needs to be that guy because last week, Cole Beasley's out there coming out of pretty much retirement and playing. You got to see more out of Gabe Davis, and that's the big thing about his game is before he catches the ball, he was clapping. So he's giving defensive backs a lot of intel into what was going on. So we got to see if that's been taken out of his game. But these two teams are both interesting teams, both capable of winning a championship. You look through the rosters, and everybody looks at that Bills roster. They are very deep, but there's been some injuries there. There's been some injuries on the Bengals side, especially to the O line, and it's a matter of chipping with Hurst, chipping with the back, really freeing it up for Burrow and just letting him do his thing. Allen is going to do his thing. He's going to get outside the pocket. He's going to make some 40-yard throw off his back foot and hit a guy in the numbers. It's a matter of really holding it down in the red zone. And that's 3, not 7, if you want to win games. That's what it comes down to in the playoffs. If you're able to score touchdowns and put another team away while they're kicking field goals, it's going to be the end of it. So as I go through this game, we'll have a weather element. We got 2 stud quarterbacks, young stud quarterbacks. And the way it works next week, if Buffalo wins, the game's in Atlanta, a neutral site game. And if Cincinnati wins, the game's in Kansas City again. Cincinnati at Kansas City, like last year, that went into overtime, and we had ourselves a great game. So, predictions for this game. Been going back and forth, but I'm left with one thing. If Skylar Thompson doesn't have drops last week, and the Miami Dolphins know how to get plays in with the play clock running in time, actually give their offense a chance to, get the motion properly and get everything set up and maybe audible. I don't think the Bills are here this week. I don't see that happening with the Bengals. I think the Bengals are the better team. I think they're playing with a chip on their shoulder. I think they've had a lot of things go wrong, starting with that pass interference in the Super Bowl last year to maybe having to have a coin flip whether they get to play at home when in the division, not really getting a chance at the number 1 seed. I'm going to go with the Bengals 30-21. And that's my prediction for the first game. We're here at Box Seats, 500 East Washington Street, North Attleboro. Come on out and join us. Plenty of food and beverage. I mean, the owner, Charlie's behind the bar, just talking to people. He's just such a great guy. Such a great job here. And they got a Franklin location, which I want to hit up very soon. So we will see what happens. Where does this rank in postseason rivalries? Dallas, San Fran. You have the catch. And then you have those 3 straight years of NFC championships where Dallas won in 92. The Alvin Harper play against San Fran in Candlestick. Then the next year, they took Jerry Rice mentally out of that game and got him in another world, just like ready to brawl people. Went to the Super Bowl and won. And then 94, they really loaded up. The 49ers did to answer back. We're talking Dion was signed, Toy Cook. There was just so many. They were so deep. I think Pat Swilling was on that team. Just the ability to do everything. Their roster was so ridiculous. And that NFC Championship game was a classic. Second play of the game, Eric Davis picks it off, takes it for a pick 6. They're up 7-0, and both these teams know they got San Diego waiting to slaughter in the next round. And they didn't meet up again for the next few years. 95, the Packers went out to Candlestick and took out San Fran. Both lost in 96. And then we didn't see the rivalry for a long time. We saw last year, great game. San Francisco going on the road, winning in Dallas in the last seconds. Um, there's a true hatred here, a true rivalry. And that's where you got to be excited about the 6:30 game tonight. Um, Dak Prescott, for years it's Montana and it's Young against Aikman, but right now it's Dak Prescott 2 years in a row, and this year it's Brock Purdy. What do we really know about Brock Purdy? The Iowa State product who was the last pick of the draft. And he has just done an unbelievable job of just seriously does his pulse go of about 75. That's all I want to know. Like, is there anything that really? And we'll see today with the that Dallas front and that chess piece player in Michael Parsons. But as far as postseason rivalries, this is up there and probably number one. New England and Pittsburgh have had a lot of good games over the last 25 years. So that's two of the top ones I can think of. Proper attack Purdy by the Dallas defense. Let that front win and let Michael Parsons do different things. Whether it's rush over the guard, try to get in, get middle pressure, let him cover a little, maybe, tease rushing on the same side as McCaffrey is and then covering McCaffrey because he has that ability. I think it's pressure with Purdy. He'll run around, he'll make plays, but I think the big thing you got to do is get out there and put pressure on Brock Purdy and just see if he finds those four weapons, many weapons. Sorry, I keep forgetting, guys. Every time I think of one more, there's another one. So, and the importance of the screen game. This is going to take pressure off the quarterback. So is Prescott going to be able to do that with Pollard and, slow down Bosa and that crew? And on the other side, slowing down Parsons and the rest of that group with, screens to McCaffrey and just letting him be elusive and get in the open field because there is nobody who blocks downfield like the San Francisco 49ers. Their wide receivers, tight ends, the whole group, they just do an incredible job of just blocking downfield and being part of the team. A guy I keep an eye on, Dalton Schultz. He can line up in multiple spots and maybe pull a linebacker or a safety. And maybe you do that and you get, a defensive formation where there's more smaller guys and you run the football off that with Pollard or with Zeke Elliott. Like I said, before the season, I was on an interview and I said, Tony Pollard's the feature back, and if you want a good handcuff, grab Zeke Elliott. Zeke Elliott's the short yardage guy, tough yardage guy, but Pollard just does so many things well. And let's see if they use them together a lot in this one. We talk about Parsons' usage. I'm attacking with him. He's playing forward. He's going forward. He's attacking. I don't need him in coverage. I got other guys who can be in coverage. Because if he's attacking the right way, Purdy is looking into strong coverage on the Dallas side. Whether he's trying to find Kittle, Ayuk, Debo, or McCaffrey out of the backfield. Or Juszczyk, too. Is Ayuk a sleeper in this game? I think he kind of is, because I think teams are really going to focus, or the Dallas team is really going to focus on getting Kittle out of the game and getting Debo Samuel out of the game. So Ayuk may be a sneaky play this week if you do daily fantasy sports, maybe 80 yards and a touchdown. But, Diggs is away from him, and it's a matter of playing with the second corner of the Dallas Cowboys. How would I use Pollard and Zeke? I would have some snaps with them together. I'm using the ability of Pollard to be dynamic, uh, get out in the pass game. He can run pass routes as good as anybody. Uh, Even his window dressing to help set up other things. You got to pay attention to him. So that would be my plan with Tony Pollard. Intangibles. We'll see if we get any rain out there in San Francisco. Win the whole bit. I'm expecting a lot of Dallas fans there. Should be a fun game, fun atmosphere. The big thing is just does Brock Purdy just keep doing what he does and reacting to the moment like it's no big deal? You know, my pulse is 75. I'm here. I'll do what I do. So we'll see what happens. Prediction, I am having a hard time with this one. I am going to go San Francisco 27-24 in overtime. And I think Dallas is going to get the ball first in overtime, not do anything, punt, and there's going to be some type of play, whether it's McCaffrey or Kittle, get them into field goal range, and they kick the field goal and advance on to play Philly. Again, we're at box seats, 500 East Washington Street, North Attleboro. Thank you for your comments, everything like that. We got you ready for the playoff games. Come on out and join us. Good food, good beverages, just good atmosphere. Come out and join us, and we'll be here next week and for the Super Bowl too. So stay tuned for those announcements. I'm going to wrap this thing up. Just wanted to get a quick show in. You can find me at E2G Founder on Twitter and E2G.com. Find us online. The great Joshua Silva did a fantastic job on our website. He's a manager here. So check out everybody's work, and don't be afraid to check out the Franklin location just opening up. All right, so I'm going to tap out at E2G Founder on Twitter. Have yourselves a great divisional Sunday weekend. Take care. Enjoy the football.